The most powerful force on earth is a human soul on fire. You have a deep ache in your soul for something more, to come alive, to let your passion pour from you like an endless well. When your passion comes alive, the magnificence buried deep inside of you is unleashed. Gifts and talents you never realized surface as your life unfolds like poetry. You can do hard things. I can show you how. This is Thrive Yoga Fit Transformational Coaching, where I teach you how to heal yourself from the inside out. Hey guys, Erin here. So I have a special treat for you, and I know we've been talking about the breakdown of the course, the How to Coach Yourself series, but I got a special opportunity and I took it with an interview with Tim Goyetche, who is the founder and owner and lead teacher for the Goyetche Institute. And I am currently enrolled in and continuing my education over and over again because I just can't get enough of Tim and all the wonderful things that he has to say. So this podcast is super special, super awesome. We talk about trauma and epigenetics and neuroplasticity and how to change your brain and how it affects your everything that you do in your life. It's such an in-depth interview, and the knowledge that Tim has it's just great. So I hope that you enjoy this small interruption in your regularly scheduled programming. This is a 2-part episode. So you're going to hear the first part Friday and then the next part the next Friday. I will be in Costa Rica. Pura vida! So enjoy. I'll be back soon. I love you all. And yeah, thank you so much. Namaste. I love actually doing reviews of fellow studios in the area, ones that I've been to. And I just, oh my God, it was amazing. And it just, whenever I feel down, I like to serve, I like to give. So absolutely.
And that's exactly the same as me.
Yeah.
But you think of it, as you give somebody, you want your way to build your neuroplasticity, to build your positive. Seek out and find the beauty that's in others, and take away your filter and let them know. Doesn't mean that you're hitting on them or you're being creepy or you have ulterior motives.
Yeah. I
look now, and as I sit here, and all I see on the screen, of course, is Erin. So I see Erin's jawline, and it makes me smile. I'm sitting here smiling right now as I'm sitting here looking at what's beautiful in Erin, because that's what's in my face right now. So.
Thank you.
But no, truly.
Thank you.
Anybody can see it. It doesn't matter who they are or how well they fit into what society deems as beautiful. Each and every one of us were born a beautiful miracle of life, and we will remain that. Throughout time. Beauty doesn't fade with time, it evolves. And we just need to see it that way and be able to appreciate it. And that's really all there is. But anyway, let's get up. So we understand the neuroplasticity, and that if we repeat positive things, positive interactions, positive thoughts, positive actions, opening doors for somebody, just feeling that smile, don't just see the smile, feel the smile on their face. Let it cleanse you. All of these positive things cleanse you. And that's why when you're positive, the hippocampus connects to the amygdala. When you're negative, it disconnects. So there you go. Keep the connection going through your own positivity. And in that, you will find a way out of your trauma. Yes. Do you still need to come to terms with the trauma? Yes. Whatever's happened, how many times has it happened since then? Ask yourself that question.
Right.
And say it was a car accident, and you've never been in a car accident since, and it's been 5 years, and you've been in so many cars, consider that. Consider that maybe it was a one-off incident and it's the same way that you must deal with anxiety. Are we maybe putting too much stock into it? And we may not be able to help that. When we resolve the issues, the physical issues within the brain that we talked about here in this kind of the first section, the physical aspects of how trauma presents itself physically in the human brain. Well, once you resolve that, then you're provided an opportunity to take that mentality that, hey, okay, so that did happen, but what's happened since?
Yeah, and
where
has
this brought me to?
I think people.
What effect?
I think people who are in a space of trauma, it's like they're grasping straws, and that's why I think I consider like my spiritual community at Thrive, at my studio, and even people who listen to my podcast, having like you're saying, serving, sharing, reaching out to people. I what comes to mind is I worked with a man who his son almost died in a car accident. And every time the phone would ring, he has PTSD. Every time the phone would ring, he would just go back into that space, right? And so holding space for him and, having him sort of go through the muck a little bit, as you said, you still need to address his trauma, right? But, getting him on some formulas and things like that to where his body could actually chemically process this finally, like what a gift to the world that now he can actually be there for his son is still alive. And so now I can actually be there for him. So.
And ever since then, every time the phone's rang, it's not been a problem. So it's not been that problem.
Yeah.
There's no need to fear.
Yeah.
It's just, so you think about, there's a perfect example. How many times has the phone rang since, and how many times was it somebody saying that his son almost died?
Right.
Yeah, he was fearful when he picked it up. Then to think how that affects your relationships with the people around you.
Exactly.
Then what the alternative? What is an alternative to that thought process, or that automatic negative thought that when the phone rings, I go into hypercortisol mode? Well, the alternative is to realize that, hey, it's rang hundreds, thousands times since. It hasn't happened. That was a one-time thing, and may never happen again, or maybe it will down the line. But you've gone through it already. You've been there. You've done that. You know how to deal and process it now. So when you realize the effect that it has on your personal and interpersonal relationships now, and you realize that an alternative automatic thought, which we can embed in ourselves by using neuroplasticity, can change the lives, can change our relationships, can change how we look at ourselves, even our relationships with ourselves.
So are you saying that would connect the hippocampus and the amygdala again to where we can process by...
Absolutely.
Ah, wonderful.
You absolutely can. So
you're such a smarty, Tim.
Through repetitive action, thought, speech, ideology, we can reconnect to bring ourselves peace, calm, and love. But here's the thing. Now it's time to get into the epigenetic and then the whole gene expression. So here, if nothing is ever going to motivate you to help yourself, let me give you the motivation right now. And it's both positive and negative, because while it's going to sound negative at first, remember that everything I'm about to tell you, you have an opportunity to provide the opposite, to do the opposite, and provide the opposite. So let's talk about this. So as the hippocampus that we talked about earlier was beginning to fail and dry up and having atrophy, disconnecting from the amygdala, the DNA associated with the hippocampus was recognizing that. And it was recognizing that in people where this goes long term, recognize this just doesn't happen anymore. So we're going to just bother to stop trying. So it rebuilds the data in that DNA. And our DNA really just tells the different parts of our body what it needs to do to be healthy and to work properly. So when it's separated like that for over an extended period of time, then the DNA associated with the hippocampus is, okay, maintain the disconnection. And you live in a constant state of fear.
Right.
So the thing with that is, and just for a moment, I'll talk about the consulting that I did with the World Health Organization. That was in relation to children in Africa children in Africa who lived in fear-based societies. So they may have been born before Boko Haram, the ugly, ugly man that's kidnapping young girls and either raping them or selling them off as sex slaves, or killing them. Before his existence, these kids may have been born in a calm and peaceful environment where their parents grew up in before Boko Haram took over. And they did not inherit genetic mutations that made they were not predisposed for anxiety, panic, depression. But because the parents of today still, because Boko Haram still exists in Africa, in Nigeria, because they're living in that environment, they're actually altering their genetic expressions, creating mutations of the GAD1 gene. That GAD1 gene leaves a predisposition for panic and generalized anxiety disorder, or one of the specific GAD1s. So thus, then, because they're living with that through their entire life, they have another child, that child inherits that gene genetic mutation from them. So now the child becomes predisposed to anxiety and living a life of anxiety, panic, depression.
So transgenetic trauma.
Absolutely. Well, that's what they call it. But it's just genetic trauma.
Okay.
Yeah. That's okay. They can call it what they want. But it's real. People dispute it, but we know that we inherit the DNA of our parents.
Right, of course.
And when the DNA data is corrupted through faulty gene expression due to issues such as whether it's environmental, emotional, physical health issues, dietary, toxicity in the air, what have you, and the genes change their expression, how they do what they're supposed to do, and then you have a child, you pass that on to your child.
Do you hear that, everybody? Everybody listening, please. So I think a lot of people might have under the impression that DNA is just set. It's like this thing that's just set in stone, but nothing in the universe is. So why would your DNA be that way? And so
absolutely not. DNA is constantly rebuilding and re-educating.
Yes,
that's if it wasn't, then how would we get cancer?
Yeah, how would we?
Our DNA tells our body to produce superoxide dismutase, glutathione, and every day, each and every one of these people that are listening to this right now are subject to at least one cancer cell in their body. Everyone.
Right.
But their DNA is telling them to kill it. Only when the expression of the DNA changes does the cancer embed. Does it get to fester? Does it get to grow? Does it get to thrive? That's the only way. Every illness, I don't care if it's diabetes, I don't care if it's rheumatoid arthritis, I don't care if it's an autoimmune disorder, it starts with a disruption of your genetic mutation, of a genetic mutation, or a failed gene expression. Because if it didn't, you would have been born with it.
Right.
So something's altered in your genetic expression in order for you to be able to acquire that disease.
I love that you're talking about this, Tim, and even kind of going in different directions, because I think maybe the average person that is just tuned into too much media and disconnected from their body, they just think, oh, well, cancer, it's just, it's just kind of like a roll of the dice. Well, no, it's not. There's things that are happening in the body that you inherit and that you activate, and exactly how it expresses to where your body is an amazing mechanism. But if there's different forces from the outside that have created these mutations to where the data in the DNA has been shifted, so
and
for
our emotions can cause it.
Yes.
Our emotions can cause the shift. Have you ever seen somebody who's lived a life of worry and seen the expression of beauty issues?
Yeah.
People that interpret things as beauty, they think, oh man, look like she worried her whole life. She probably did, and that worry altered her gene expression of collagen and elastin.
And I would even see it in body work, people who worry all the time, their bones are rigid. I can feel it in their body. I can feel the energy. So, Thank you.
Absolutely. In every aspect of our life, We are responsible for what's going on, what's going into us, what we think, what we believe, what we allow ourselves to be exposed to. Get the negative people out of your lives, folks, because if you don't, you are allowing them to sign your slow death certificate.
Ooh, preach Tim,
Literally.
preach Timmy, preach Timmy.
You literally are, because they're killing you slowly.
Yep.
And people say, well, I got it's a family member. What can I do? I didn't talk to my own mother for 18 years because my other family doesn't watch this but anyway, they know I didn't, but they probably hoping I wouldn't talk about this publicly. But she was a very negative person. That it after about 30 odd years, I just said enough was enough, and never. You have to distance you unless you're willing to die for them.
Yeah.
Walk away, because you'll never find peace. You'll never resolve your trauma, because you'll always be in a constant state of negativity surrounding you.
Yeah. If
it surrounds you, and you've probably seen the videos that I've done previously where I show the changes of physical strength in people when somebody just in the corner says positive words and negative words.
Oh, yeah.
When they say negative words, they become weak as a kitten. Yeah, well, so does your immune system.
Yeah.
It helps prevent diseases like cancers and the implementation or the beginning parts of many other chronic diseases. But also, if that's there, if there's negativity in your life, and you have a trauma issue, separate yourself from it, because you'll never resolve it.
Yeah.
We can feed you supplements all day long. We can feed you sarcos. We can get in there and we can cut your brain open and try to fix it. Put a new hippocampus in there. But if you're going to keep exposing yourself to negative people, call it negative. It is negative energy.
Yeah.
If you keep exposing yourself to it, remember every 26 times they do that, they're building a new synapse or neuron to building a bridge towards negativity in your brain. And what they're doing, so they're slowly building that bridge to the disruption and turmoil of your inner peace. Yeah. You're going to let them do that? Are you willing to die for them?
Yeah.
I'm not.
I've coached people out of abusive relationships, and it was a process. One person in particular took almost 2 years, and when we got into coaching and getting into their subconscious belief systems, the person's voice was literally inside of their head. Of course it was, like with everybody, knowing this now. And we had to do a massive overhaul to get that person to save her and her children out of that situation. And now she's free. And it took so much work, but it was so worth it. So people, if you are in an abusive situation, even family members, I have my eldest brother, tore me down, like as much as I had to interact with him to sell my mother's house. Now that it's over, like I don't want him in my life. And that's your right. Doesn't make you a bad person, but you need to protect your energy. And if that person just insists on being abusive, negative, like Tim said, if you want to heal, if you want to serve and show up in your life in a big way, you have to get away from that. You have to. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You have to make decisions.
Yes.
You really do.
Yeah.
Because you will never heal in an environment filled with negativity.
Right.
It's not possible. So you either come to terms with and accept the trauma, and accept that there's no way you're going to be able to resolve it with negative people around, and you keep them around, or you distance yourself from them. You open the door, put them on the other side of it, and lock it behind them.
Right. Yep. I love it when you go on those rants, Tim. I live for it.
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
I'm a very quiet, slow talker, 90% of the time until you get me excited or wound up a little bit.
Yeah.
So, anyway, there's that. So.
Yes. So.
And that's the genetic aspect of it. If anxiety becomes a long-term issue because we don't attempt to resolve it quickly, and when we allow anxiety to stay in our lives, the anxiety to stay without doing anything to try to resolve it, for an extended period of time, then we alter our genetic expressions. Again, it's going to be the GAD1 gene. There's many genes involved in that, but anyway, we're altering them, altering how we produce neurotransmitters, altering how the receptors, if they're going to, how much it will recept of the neurotransmitters. You may produce enough of the serotonin, the dopamine, the GABA, but the receptors may not fire right, because it may be the DNA that's associated with the receptors and not the production of the neurotransmitters. That's why each and every one of us are very unique animals, like I keep saying.
Right.
And that has to be identified.
Yes. So then we can expound upon this, but what is one to do, Tim? What is one to do?
Go see you.
So are we allowed to talk about the TT formula, or?
Well, let's not talk about it, what it's being used for, but we can talk about it in this aspect. Absolutely.
Okay.
And
all
we
right.
talk about it, the other thing so let me explain what the TT is actually tered tezer. So you think, what is tered tezer? If you saw it spelled and then you spelled it backwards, you would get great reset. So we're just going to leave that at that. So I'm going to give you some idea as to what it's about.
Yeah.
Now I'll explain to you what it does. So it actually includes stimulating sarcodes of mRNA, wink, wink, DNA, RNA, ATP, ADP, zinc, everything responsible for how the DNA and our genes reset themselves and re-educate themselves. Everything's in there to stimulate, so that what we can do is when the genes are set, and then each gene it goes through a cycle, and you have to wait for it. It resets it, and it can reset autoimmune disorders as well. But in this instance, I think it's really once that you have the genetic mutation in, you need if it's nutritional based, you need to fix the nutrition. If there is a genetic expression issue that's caused from long-term, if you've had long-term trauma in your life and it's affected your life for a year or more, you need to get that formula from Erin. You really do, because I shouldn't say you're never going to resolve it. You can attempt to resolve it through neuroplasticity, the practice of utilizing neuroplasticity. There's many other methods to treating it. You can work on symptomology that helps you bring it down, because there's triggering symptomology for it as well.
Right. For
some people, insomnia for such. And I was lucky enough when I said I treated the federal police force to get them somewhat immediately after the incident took place. So they didn't get to go long term for it to change their genetic expressions. So, because that's the last thing you want to do, because especially if you're young and at childbearing age, you're going to pass that to your children. If you have more children, there's a very high probability that you're going to. And that's what we want to stop, because we want to break those cycles. Even if
break the cycle.
If your parents had anxiety issues and problems dealing with trauma, and their parents had it, and then their parents' parents had it, and you inherited it.
Yeah.
If you inherited it, when your child is young, you are provided an opportunity to break the fucking cycle. Excuse my mouth.
You can curse as much as you want on my podcast.
And we need to.
Yes.
It's something that we can do. We can break it, and I've done it. I've removed genetic expressions, failed genetic expressions, genetic mutations. And I'm going to say for the millionth time about the Huntington's disease. Huntington's disease, one of the most deadly diseases in the world. It's a genetic mutation of the HNT1 gene that causes death to the basal ganglia, which is right beside the amygdala, by the way. So it causes death to the gland in the midbrain. And that's what it does. And it causes all kinds of issues with motor issues, speech, the whole nervous system until they die.
Yeah.
And this child, because it's such a rare disease, this child in the USA had a geneticist that was working with him out of Germany, because there was nobody in the USA that could treat him. So as they go through and they do all the genetic tests, we treated them with this exact same, what had another name at the time, Taylor-Kaiser formula. And with that, we deleted the genetic mutation that caused it. And when we deleted it, the basal ganglia in his brain grew back from necrotic from dead to fully live and functioning. Do not underestimate the power of sarcodes.
I love that story. I could hear it a million times.
Do not, yes. It's one I love to use because it's such an extreme example. But there's so much they can be used to balance the hormone. And, hormones play a role in it, too. You think about estrogen dominant women, they just want to stab your fucking eye out. Because listen, I deal with my own wife, and I know when her estrogen's out of balance,
Yeah.
She's postmenopausal now, and when her estrogen goes high, I know to put the sharp, pointy things away and
put the formula on the counter.
That's right. Here's some estrogen sedation, a little bit of progesterone,
and a flower,
and I'm gonna go sleep in the garage. It's her birthday today, so I'm probably going to get killed for saying that. If she
she knows you love her.
Yeah. So, but anyway, yeah. No, but really, I think you understand. And I know I made fun and I made light of it. It's not nice to make light of it, but when estrogen dominance is present, it really affects your ability to process your own thoughts and rationalize some of our own behavior. Absolutely does. The same way as testosterone in men, that we can't rationalize our own. When it's too high, it's elevated. It's really in a toxic level, the same way estrogen is in estrogen dominance.
Sure.
We can't. We have almost little or no control over our behaviors.
Yeah.
We do to some degree, but they could really use help. They could really help as well. So there's so many aspects of being able to help and calm the body, mind, and soul.
Yeah, we have formulas that normalize all of this, folks. So if you're listening and you're like, oh my God, that sounds like me, or like this I'm reading the comments and feel like, oh my God, I feel like this podcast was made just for me. Because we're addressing all these different issues, but there is a way, folks. Yeah, do inner work, certainly, like yoga, meditation, like you need to be, physically active, eat healthy, but like these formulas are amazing. And we're so lucky that Tim has safeguarded them for almost 30 years. So we can't say the same about some other, formulas, practitioners and whatnot, but that's what makes you, one of the reasons that you're so special and what you do is so special, Tim, because you've always is like Tim for the people, by the people type of thing. Like you're here for us. It feels like that way anyways.
Nah, I don't even like you as much. Sorry, I couldn't help myself. Of course I know. Yeah.
So.
But it's just what I do. I know that you love the amygdala formulas.
I do.
And they really, if you combine them with the neurologic, and I'm speaking only to her, you guys can't hear this because we're public, neurologic, you kind of get what you were looking for.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because that would fill in some of the gaps of some of the other things. So
that would fill in everything.
All of them. Okay. Well, I'm fully stocked and loaded, so my apothecary is large. Yeah, because of the size of the orders I place. So.
So that's what I was here to talk about. Now, I don't know if anybody when they want to ask you questions and I'll answer them, or I can't see the questions, so.
Yeah. So I'm going to go through for those. So we, on the Facebook Live, we did have some issues, but because we're going to be making this into a YouTube video as well as a podcast, but some people were turning on their captions. Let's see if anybody has any questions. I can certainly read them to Tim. If you want to ask some questions, this is the power of a human cell. Kate Bai was saying like the power, expound upon the power of to turn genes on and off. We kind of did that already. I want to ask some questions. So I actually want to ask about the Goyetche Institute and your course. So can you talk a little bit about that, Tim?
Only if you pronounce it right.
Oh, okay. Sorry, say it. Goyetche.
Goyetche.
Etch. Why didn't you correct me sooner?
Because you've never said it like that before.
Oh, okay.
You've always said it right. You just said Goyetche.
Okay, Goyetche.
I'm just playing with you.
Okay.
I don't even know if I say it right. So what is it you want to know?
So how can people get in touch with you to enroll in your course? And we do have some questions coming in. I'll ask after I get my question.
Go to my
answered.
Facebook page. Luckily, Facebook, my Facebook profile page, just the Tim Goyetche one. And right at the top of that, because now Facebook allows us to pin a post on our own timelines at the top of them now.
Oh, really?
So
I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Yeah, so I have a post pinned that has the links to everything if they want the information on the courses. So we have the advanced course, which you are doing, which you've been doing, and then we have the beauty course, and now we have the new course that is just started a couple of weeks ago. That is in-person beauty consultation only, and it's a bit of trickery. But it's trickery that I'm perfectly okay with.
Yeah.
Because it's allowing people who are more worried about their vanity than their physical health to come see you for their vanity, and then you fix their physical health by resolving, because most vanity issues are deficiencies.
Yeah.
And I literally mean most issues that are considered vanity issues in the human face that would be late onset, that would come on with time, that people think are indeed mineral deficiencies, and they can be corrected. But when you correct them, you fix so many other underlying issues and health issues, and where they're reaching dangerous points of illnesses to set in, and you get the opportunity to correct that for them, and they'll know. They'll know because they'll feel the difference.
Oh, yeah.
They won't just see the difference in the mirror, they'll feel the difference. So it's going to be very rewarding for those people as they get through that course. It's only a couple of courses.
So Tim has multiple courses that are available, and
a new one coming.
Another? Do I know about it?
Nope.
Okay. Okay, tease.
Molecular acupuncture. The single most scientifically studied and proven natural health modality in the world.
Oh, you are going to do that?
I was going to do that a while ago, and then I said, no. I'm going to say I'm saying yes.
Yeah, I remember, because I was the you said it to.
Yeah, I think you wanted me to do it. Didn't
Yes, I did. I was bugging you about it.
You were the torturer of that one. Yes.
Yeah, so it worked.
Right. So, well, I haven't done it yet, but I think it's gonna come.
Okay.
We'll see.
Perfect.
A lot of things on the go. So.
All right. So, Mary Bublitz, I think is how you pronounce her last name.
Mary. Hello, Mary.
Is there a formula to help with severe insomnia?
Well, that depends on the underlying cause. Is it a melatonin issue?
Yeah.
Is it a trauma issue?
Mm-hmm.
A stress issue? Is it because you're overthinking?
Mm-hmm.
When you try to go to bed? Is it a hormone issue? Is there night sweats? So there's no one set formula, because we're all unique animals. So what we'd need to do is identify some more things that are identify more of what's going on, and through the process of elimination or inclusion, we would then identify what your actual cause was. So,
right.
It could be amino acids. It could be, you think of tryptophan. Tryptophan helps you sleep.
Yeah.
There's one that maybe your tryptophan is low.
I think that's why it's important to work with a practitioner,
because it's about balance and normalization. It's not all these people that are out there taking magnesium baths and massive amounts of magnesium supplements, and then they're completely blocking copper uptake.
Right.
Copper is so essential to the human body. It's part of superoxidase mutase.
And it balances your hormones.
In your body. It's also part of your microglial cells in the human brain. That they are the white blood cells of the human brain that scavenge and clear any debris, dirt, or corrupt data in the brain and take it out of there. Protect the myelin sheath and protect the brain and the transference of information between it. So yeah.
So there's your answer, Mary. So I would probably
next time ask for the short version.
So I'd probably find a practitioner that can help you sort out what's going on with an intake. And, we ask different questions to see what's really going on with you, and then muscle test. So it's a whole process, but then you can get down to the answer rather than throw 20 formulas at it. Let's see. Oh, I can answer this one. The Turk Taser. So the name of the SAR code formula for the long-term trauma, the Turk Taser. Mary said thank you, by the way.
You're welcome, Mary.
And then Jean Louise Garad. I might have murdered that last name.
Local French name, yeah.
Yes, yeah. If we'd like some SAR codes, I live close to Tim. Can I get some from him?
Nope.
Okay. Nope.
Not unless you are a patient, and I will begin seeing patients again in about 2 weeks. So you'll be able to see that. I get all new software, medical filing and medical requests, so I can request the files from your treating medical doctors. So I can request the blood work that they've gotten back, et cetera, by fax, and an online booking system. It's just not ready yet because I have to upload, which I didn't realize, like 500 different products into it. And I'm working on that as time allows. I'm about half done now, but then at the completion of that, I have to have a conversation with the people who make the software. Apparently, they have to go through a 1 hour thing with them, and then it goes live. So I'm thinking within 7 to 14 days, you'll be able to book. But I'm only allowed to sell my products to you if you are a patient. If we have a legal patient-practitioner relationship as defined by Health Canada, I can't sell it to you unless you've gone through it. And that's not me trying to make money, because I don't care about the money. Anybody that knows me knows that's one of the first things about me is that I just don't care. But if I don't want to go to jail or I don't want to be fined, then that's what I have no choice, but that's what I have to do. So.
Yay. Oh, and one of Jean was saying, I work with Nadine Dupius and use your products already. So.
Okay. Well, then she should get it through Nadine.
Oh, there you go. Okay, so she has her answer. Okay, so I just want to say thank you, Tim, for granting me this interview. I'm honored, and I always love, our talks, because I love when you get on a roll and you get super passionate, and I think that happened about 3 or 4 times in this podcast.
I was trying to behave myself. I really was.
I think everyone's here for it. I certainly am. And, I don't have to say this, but, just keep doing what you're doing, because you're just helping so many people. You're helping your practitioners, and, we're just going to keep
doing what you're doing too.
Thank you.
Because you're helping so many people.
Thank you. I see you, friend.
I see you.
Thank you. All right. Well, thank you everybody for tuning in on the Facebook Live. Again, it wasn't, super clear that I don't know what Facebook was doing, but we had to get the show on the road. It will be available on YouTube. I have a separate video I've been looking at. So we'll have the sound there. I recorded the sound in 3 different ways. So we will definitely have it there available for you. We will try to release it. I'm going to try to release it this Friday, actually. It'll be a 2-part episode because we talked for so long. So, thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Tim. And we'll see you next time.
Bye, everybody. Be healthy.
Thank you so much for listening. If you want to support the podcast and if it's helping you, please consider writing a review. You can go to iTunes or Google Play, go into the search bar and type in Thrive Yoga Fit Transformational Coaching, scroll down, and you can leave a review. This helps other people to find me, as well as bumps us up in the search ratings. Also, this podcast is sponsor-free, so that means we don't receive anything for doing it. If you feel so inclined and this podcast is helping to support you and you want to return the favor and help to support any production costs of the podcast, feel free to give a donation to a Venmo link, Thrive Yoga Fit, or PayPal, Erin@erincoach.com. If you don't have the means, don't worry about it. We're not going anywhere. You're all good. But if you would like to give back, you can give back in those ways. Last thing, we have a coaching certification coming up, and it's 7 days of an intensive work. followed by a 3-month mentorship. You will not find another teacher that's more passionate and dedicated than I am to my students and their learning. And not just their learning, but the application and how they show up in their life. If you've been listening to this podcast and it's had a huge impact on your life, just imagine what it would be like to spend 7 intensive days with me and then a 3-month mentorship. You can check that out at thriveyogafit.com/coach-certification. Again, thriveyogafit.com/coach-certification. Thank you so much. Namaste.